Hello friends, CA Manu Sharma this side. In this video, I am going to explain you how we can configure the load deduction certificates in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 to fulfill the requirements of the load deduction certificate. A small disclaimer for you. Now, before starting the configuration, let's first understand what is the load deduction certificate. So, our load deduction certificate is like a special permission which we take from the income tax department. For example, suppose as per section 194 J, suppose 10% is the TDS rate, tax rate, that is withholding tax rate. But we take a permission from the income tax department that, sir, I have very low income, that so a lower TDS should be deducted for me. For example, 1% or even 0% tax should be deducted for the particular transaction. So why a person take this special permission from the income tax department? So the answer is the cash flow. For example, friends, if I am doing a transaction like I am selling some services, I am a vendor, other person is the customer. They are deducting 10% of the TDS. So the amount will be blocked with the government because I have to take a refund in the next year when I will file the income tax return. Then that money will come to me. So why not take a special permission from the income tax department and deduct lower TDS? So I hope you got the entire process. Now our real life, let's say a real life example how it is important. What's the benefit of the lower deduction certificate? Then we will configure it in the Microsoft Dynamics. Okay. So suppose friends, we there is an NRI person who is selling his house for rupees 1 crore, and the buyer is required to deduct let's say 20% TDS on the total sale value. This is the example. The TDS rate will differ. So I am just giving you example. Okay. So suppose the TDS should be deducted 20% on the total sale value. So 20% will be 20 lakh. That will be deducted immediately. But the NRI says that uh, since he has bought the house for only 80 lakh rupees, the profit will be only 20 lakh and the tax on the profit will be 4 lakh. Let's say the whatever is the tax rate that is applicable to the NRI, let's say 20% is the tax rate that is applicable to the NRI. So the uh, tax, that is the income tax that will be applied, will be only 4 lakhs. So he takes a special permission from the income tax department that only lower TDS should be deducted. Let's say 20%, let's say only 4 lakhs should be deducted as the TDS for this type of transaction. So for a particular transaction, lower deduction certificate is applicable for a particular type of transaction. Okay. Now, so I hope you got a overall, understanding of why lower deduction certificate is people get lower deduction certificate. This is the format of the load deduction certificate. Even you don't need to understand this format because you only need to configure as a consultant. You only need to configure it into the system. Now let's say what is the business requirement. So the business asks us that the special threshold should be there for the load deduction vendors. So for all those vendors who are providing load deduction certificate, a special threshold should be there and the lower rate should be configured in the system for all the load deduction certificate vendors. And the certificate number for each transaction, certificate number should be appearing for each certificate number should be appearing for each transaction only where load deduction certificate applies. So if the load deduction certificate not applicable for any transaction, then the certificate number should not appear. For example, friends, let's suppose this is the load deduction certificate. This is like a test case for us. So this is a load deduction certificate, and here it is mentioned that this is applicable for section 194J subsection A. Uh, assume this is the format, but everything I have written here, so you can properly understand. So for example, up to rupees 1 lakh, only 2% should be deducted. 2% withholding tax should be deducted, or say TDS should be deducted. Example, and it this certificate will be valid till 31st of March 2026. So how we can configure this into the system, that we will understand. So the business provided this test case to us that this is a certificate. I want you to configure it and show to me how it will be processed in the system. And the business asks us that for transaction where load direction certificate is applicable, the certificate number should be appearing, and even in the posted withholding tax uh, report, that certificate number should appear. So I will configure everything. Then uh, we will see in the system how the certificate number appear. So for example, friends, let's suppose these are our vendors. This is our vendor for which the load direction certificate is applicable. So go to that vendor, and here first we need to do the initial setup, that is enter the PAN number. This is a one-time setup, entering the PAN number. So I have entered the PAN number, this one. Then you need to you need to enable this calculate withholding tax to yes, TDS group you need to attach. Then for these thing is actually a basic setup which I have also shown in my previous video, so you can watch that. Now I am going to show you what is the setup for the load direction certificate. So for the load direction certificate, go to withholding tax code, then go to threshold reference, and here the actual concept will apply here. So what we need to do for configuring the load direction certificate, we need to create a separate threshold definition first. So either you can click on the new button here, then select vendor, select table, select the particular vendor, and then in the threshold definition right click and view detail. Otherwise you can directly go to the threshold definition from here. From here, if I go to the threshold definition, this one, so you can directly go to this section. Now click on the new button. uh, Actually, not click on the new button, just remove the filter whatever is there, so you will be able to see all the threshold definition which are available. And then click on any particular, either you can create a new definition directly. Otherwise, the easy way is to that select the particular definition which is already there, and then make a copy of that. So I have already made a copy, so first I will delete this one. So let's suppose this is the 194A 194J subsection A threshold definition. I want to make a copy of that, so click on this button, and in the name, what we'll do, since this threshold definition only applicable for a particular certificate number, so what I will do, I will put the certificate number just for this is for referencing purpose. So proper description. So either you can put the certificate number itself, or you can put the PAN number of the vendor, anything. This is just for particular description, that this certificate will be applicable to the particular vendor. So once you have created the threshold definition, go back and then attach this particular threshold definition here. Then go to threshold designer. In the threshold designer, we will actually configure the definition. So we will also change the limits. For example, this lower limit should be 1 lakh. I will put the lower limit to 1 lakh first and save it. Then I will also change the this one, the first syllab, 0 to 1 lakh. First change 0 to 1 lakh, uh, and the second syllab is 1 lakh to maximum limit. Okay, 1 lakh to infinity. Then since we have configured the upper limit, friends, now the second part is to configure the withholding tax rate. So for example, 2% is applicable. So I will put 2% here. Then I'll put PAN as received. And let's suppose I don't want this thing. And here I will say received. And the tax which will be applicable after 1 lakh will be 10%. That is a normal tax which is already applicable for our other transaction which we have already configured. Okay, so just save it. And since we want the certificate number should be applied, should be seen in the postage withholding tax report for only those transactions which are covered in the first slab. So what we'll do, click on the concession certificate, and here this is a certificate number. Enter the certificate number from here to here, this one, and then click on the OK button. Then save it. Then go back. Now we have configured everything. Now we will do a transaction with this vendor and we'll see the results. So and invoice journal. Now quickly I will enter one more transaction here. So I know friends it's a long video, but actually you are learning something which will be very helpful to you. So just be with me, which will be very helpful to you. Testing is very important for any system. Yeah. Now quickly enter previous day, and here the day will be, so this will be our first transaction. I will give it an invoice number of 1, invoice number of 2, here 1 lakh. Here quickly enter the offset account. Yeah. Offset account is entered in choose approved by, and approved by here as well. And let's check the withholding tax. So the withholding tax, we can see that okay, first for the first transaction it is showing 10%. For the another transaction it is showing 10%. For the first one, it how much it is showing? Okay, it is showing 10% as well. Just save it and then check. Okay, it is showing 10% for both of this vendor. Let me just check what is the issue. What is the issue, friends? What is the issue? The certificate is fine. Yeah. Okay, certificate is fine. Everything threshold references. Yeah, threshold reference for this one. So here threshold designer. So okay, actually I think we have gone way back. Go back again and here click on the threshold designer. Yeah. Now check. So for the first transaction, let's check. Is final is 2%, everything is fine. It is 10%. Concession certificate, it is available. Let's say I will put a from date as well. Let's say I will put a from date as 1st of 11, and then check the transaction. Okay, I put the concession date as well, starting date as well, and let's see if it has some impact on our transaction. So if I go to withholding tax, yeah, still it is showing 10%. So I will do one thing. I will delete this transaction and I will check withholding tax. So it is saying 2% now. So actually this is a issue with the I don't know why it, and there's no There's no proper documentation of this actually given by the Microsoft, but yeah, I know this is how we do this type of transaction. So you can see that also I want to say one thing that these additional fields are will be you will be able to see by clicking on the insert and selecting all these fields. So actually withholding tax is uh, getting the certificate is getting populated if I'm doing transaction one by one. So let's do one by one and then uh, quickly wrap up this video. Okay, so click on the new button, invoice journal, new line, and yeah, today's date, invoice journal 02, reduction certificate, and here I will see six series accounts with this one. Yeah, fine. Now click on the journal tab. No, this one actually invoice tab and select the invoice approval. You don't need to do it because in your case there will be no issue for this. Now if I check 10%, yeah, 10% is applicable and withholding tax certificate number should not be appearing. So that is our actual, yeah, certificate number is not appearing. So proper return will the user will be able to file by using the withholding tax report. So I will just show you withholding tax report and quickly wrap up this video because it's already we have consumed a lot of time in this thing. So quickly check. So what we understood, friends, actually there is some issue if we are doing the transaction in the same invoice journal. So this is one issue. Maybe in our other videos, I will just we will talk about this issue. Maybe how we can resolve it. Until if you have something, then you can also share with us. Uh, so now uh, these are our transaction. Let me just filter with the certificate number. Yeah, so you can see the certificate number finally appearing for our transaction. Okay, no, what I will do, I will just simply uh, filter that specific vendor. Yeah, this one. So you can see the vendor is appearing and even PAN number is appearing. So either we can use any of this to filter the transaction. So friends, normally I will tell you what details is required to file the withholding tax. One is the actual withholding tax which is posted. Maybe you can use this one, that is actual withholding tax. The date, invoice date is also there. So the certificate number, whether if it is a lower deduction certificate, if our tax is calculated at lower rate, then a checkbox should be checked when you are filing return. So this certificate field will be able to help the user. So if there is a lower rate that is applied, so this can be utilized. So and this is the actual withholding tax, and if there is a rate column, so then I can show you that as well. Let me just check. Let me just check. Permanent account number, yeah, it is also used. Permanent account number is also used. Mhm. Yeah, percentage. Yeah. So this percentage actually is also utilized while filing the return. So that also, we can just move it side by side and save it and give it a name as maybe TDS return, and just pin it default to the user, so they can always utilize this type of view for their transaction. And also you can publish it. You can also publish it, and it is a very simple to publish this view to other users as well. So you can create it and publish it to the user as per their requirement. So everything, you can use move here and there, and mm, then create a report for the users. So friend, that's all for this video. I have shown you everything. I've shown that for the first transaction that 2% was applied, for the second transaction 10% was applied in the posted withholding tax report, and the TDS and TCS inquiry screen we are able to see the rate and the certificate number, everything we are able to see. Now I think yeah, that is fine. Actually, this we need to check. This we need to check in the system why there was issue. If we are using a particular, if we are using in same invoice journal, if we are entering two transaction, if we are using two or more invoices in the same invoice journal, then we found some issue that maybe we can check. Maybe you can tell me that how to resolve that. And let's wrap this video, and we will meet in our next video. Thank you.